Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I trust that everyone is nice and dry and we made it through last night. Everybody looks nice and dry. Public notice of this meeting was given to all board members and associates in the notice dated January 5th, 2024. Adequate and electronic notice of this public meeting have been provided specifying the time, place, and manner in which this meeting is being conducted. It was advertised in the Courier Post, posted in all schools, the administration office, the municipal building, the library, the Quadruple Center, Edward Acres, Elmtown, and the Winslow Township post offices. And before I go any further, I should just say welcome to the regular meeting of the Winslow Township Board of Education. And this is our mission statement. The mission of the Winslow Township School District, a large, diverse, and growing community, is to educate all students to become independent, lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and caring and confident members of their community, the district, in partnership with the community, and in a climate of cooperation and mutual respect, will provide an academic environment which values excellence and diversity, encourages all students to strive for personal excellence, and assist them in acquiring the knowledge, skills, and attitudes necessary to contribute positively to a rapidly changing world. Roll call, please.
Ms. Drayton?
Here.
Ms. Martin?
Present.
Ms. Nieves?
Present.
Ms. Peterson?
Present.
Mr. Shaw?
Mr. Shaw is joining us.
Ms. Thomas?
Present.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
And Ms. Pitts?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2023. 2024. District goals. Number 1, student achievement. Continue to implement best practices for delivering instructions to students utilizing all available and appropriate instructional models. This shall include A, develop plans to increase the graduation rate. B, decrease chronic absenteeism. C, increase in benchmark scores in 4th grade ELA end of the year. D, accountability for all district staff and stakeholders. Number 2, increase parent caregiver engagement in education. A, provide opportunities for two-way communication with district stakeholders. B, implement the culture climate survey. Number 3, market our strengths and achievements to all stakeholders to increase capacity for greater parent caregiver community support. A, work with the communications consortium. B, continue with our public relations marketing plan. C, continue to work with the various advisory committees in the district. And D, focus on refining our communication methods and messages to better market our school district.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Board members, moving now to the top of page 2. Our first order of business this evening is to interview for our board vacancy. Now, at this time, I'm going to just do a brief roll call to make sure that all applicants are here. And when I call your name, if you would stand, please. Mr. Anthony Askew.
Present.
Mr. George Palmer.
Here.
Mr. Jesse Flax.
Here.
When you stand, would you remain standing? Ms. Wanda Gloyd. Mr. Gerard McManus.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Christy Renzulli.
Present.
And Mr. Keisha Walker.
Present.
Thank you. We may be seated. Mr. Long has a brief statement to make to you, and it will end the question.
Certainly, I just wanted all the candidates here. First of all, welcome. My name's Howard Long. I'm the board solicitor, and just some brief remarks about qualification to be on the board, if you would, please. Bear with me. In order to become a school board member, you must, A, and I don't have this guy's voice, so it's not going to sound like it's coming from somewhere up there, but I'm going to do my best. You have 1 year's residency in the school district. Number 2, you must be registered to vote within this district. Number 3, you can have no personal interest in any contract with or claim against the Board of Education. You may not hold as a member of the governing body another office. For example, be on the governing body in Winslow Township. You may not simultaneously hold 2 elective offices that are defined by the statute. And effective on January 11, 2024, a criminal background check must be completed within 30 days of your appointment in order to take an oath of office. And that 30 days commences upon confirmation of the appointment. So while the school board may decide to make a selection this evening, regrettably, I mean that sincerely, if chosen, you will not be able to be sworn in or take your seat as a board member until you have satisfied the criminal background check. And then at that point, you may be sworn in and take your seat. Lastly, anyone who is appointed for an unexpired term. And given the time that this term is occurring, it means that your term will be from hopefully within the next month that we can get the criminal background check reported, but you would have to run again for that seat in November. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Your term is very narrow. It does not go beyond November. So I believe petitions are due in August, sometime in July or August. You should be familiarize yourself with that deadline. And I want you to be aware that if you want to be re-elected, you have to run again next November 2024. So does everybody understand all that, or may I answer any questions? And is everyone able to meet those requirements that I enumerated earlier? Fantastic, Mrs. Pitts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Thank you. So therefore, at this point, step number 2 is that I ask questions that the board members have compiled. And at this point, I'm going to ask all candidates to stand right now. And Mr. Davis will escort you out. We will begin alphabetically with Mr. Askew. Mr. Askew, if you would kindly step to the podium. And we will call each one in accordingly. Mr. Askew, I understand according to the information that you sent to us that you've been here, a resident of Winslow, for slightly less than 2 years.
Right.
Is that correct?
It'll be 2 years next month.
Could I just briefly ask you what caused you to choose Winslow?
Sure. I moved into the Winslow area 2 years ago. Every place I've lived, I've always taken a vested interest in what's going on in the educational system. But what really sparked my interest is I own an LLC where I do college consulting. And about 2 years ago, I worked with a family who their son was enrolled in the district. And we were looking at colleges for them to actually enroll in. And the mother had nothing but good things to say about the district. So I thought that was really good. I'd really like to learn more about this district. Then I ended up moving into the district. And I had candidates knock on my door and was telling me they were running for the school board. And I invited them in and I said, John, we had a conversation just about what's going on in the district and how they like being on the school board and what were some of the initiatives that they were really working toward in the district. And so it sparked my interest to even, learn more about the district. My background is in education and I'm a lifelong educator. And so quite naturally, I was really interested in learning more about the district.
Right now, Mr. Askew, I want to interrupt you, and I should have said this initially, that each candidate will only have 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So you've actually answered the first question.
Okay.
And the first question was, what was the deciding factor for you applying for the board vacancy. And so our second question is this. Can you tell us one thing you like about this school district and follow that with one thing you would possibly like to change about this district? Now, just to ask you, as I said, you're allowed 5 minutes. So up to 5 minutes. Now, if you can answer our questions in less than 5 minutes, fine, but we're giving you 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for sharing that. When I read the strategic plan, there were a number of things that I did like about the district, because there are a number of things that I think the emphasis is on success, and there are comprised elements of success within the strategic plan. The most important being the emphasis on teaching and learning, as well as the emphasis on test scores. That's something that districts across the country struggle with, as well as the parental and community engagement and emphasis on creating a diverse, not only work environment, but teaching and learning environment as well. And again, the emphasis on technology, preparing students for the 21st century and beyond.
Okay, thank you. Moving now, our next question, Mr. Askew, is this. Are there aspects of your educational or professional experiences that will especially be helpful in achieving our 23-24 district goals?
There are. I indicated earlier that I'm a lifelong educator with about 30 years of experience in education, both on the higher ed side as well as on the secondary education side. And those experiences, I believe, have prepared me to be a unique candidate in many aspects. I've had the opportunity of working with school districts across the country with the Council of Great City Schools on test development, assessment, and outcomes. I've worked with companies like the Princeton Review, Peterson's, whose focus and primary focus was on state assessments as well as college entrance exams. And so my background lends itself to helping districts across the country improve test scores, align them with curriculum with state assessments, and achieve those outcomes that the districts are trying to achieve.
Okay, thank you. Lastly, Mr. Askew, and I am pronouncing that name correct.
You are pronouncing it
thank you. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the students of our district, and how would you address the issue?
Madam President, we have about 1 minute.
Aside from test scores, I think one of the greatest challenges in the district is really being able to prepare students for the 21st century. And one way in which to do that is to through strategic partnerships, whether it's strategic partnerships between parents and caregivers, as well as business and industry, to provide experiential learning experiences that you can't otherwise get within the classroom. It's through those types of experiences that I think your students will get the exposure to things that they may not get in the classroom, which can actually provide them with opportunities to be truly prepared for the 21st century.
Well, I apologize, Mr. Long, I'm sorry, I know you had a timekeeper. I don't think we heard the answer to the second part of question number 2, the one thing that you would possibly change about the district.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Netter.
What I would actually change, I see this as an area of opportunity. I won't
Yeah, I'm
necessarily.
sorry, Mr. Askew, again, I can only give you 1 extra minute.
Okay, I don't see it as change, but I think one of the things is the opportunity to provide more experiential learning experiences through partnership with business and industry.
Okay, that's what you, okay, fine. Thank you, Mr. Askew.
Thank you.
Now you can have a seat. Mr. Davis, our next candidate is Mr. George Palmer.
Good evening, Ward.
Good evening, Mr. Palmer. Mr. Palmer, I should begin by saying that we have a few questions, certainly, that we will be asking, and you are allowed at least 5 minutes up to 5 minutes to answer the questions. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Palmer, I understand by the information that you sent in to us that you've been a resident of this township for about 10 years, is
That is
that
correct,
correct?
yes.
Now, with that in mind, can you tell us what was the deciding factor for you in applying for this board vacancy?
Yeah, sure, great question. I can't say that there was actually one deciding factor. I mean, my wife has been a long-time resident. She graduated from Edgewood back then. Now it's Winslow Township, obviously. I didn't grow up here, but we decided to come back and raise our kids here because of her experiences that she's had here. I've had tons of experiences with our children in the community, soccer, basketball, coaching, and education is probably the single most important aspect that we can have for our children. And I don't see a shortage of basketball coaches. I don't see a shortage of soccer coaches. I don't see those shortages, but I do see shortages in education. And so for me to give back to the community in which I serve as an educator means the world to me. It means a lot to my children as well.
So, Mr. Palmer, how many children have
I have 3.
And do they attend the district?
They do 11, 9, and 7, 2 in school 5, 1 in school 4. My oldest will be going to the middle school next year, so then I'll have 3 in 3 different schools.
So you certainly are fully invested.
Yes, we are fully committed.
Fine, moving now, Mr. Farmer, please tell us one thing you would like about, one thing you like about this school district, and then one thing you would like to possibly change about this in this school district.
Yes. So as I mentioned, I have 3 children in the district, 11, 9, and 7, 6th grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade. So we've seen the different programs throughout the schools. I think that our programs in Winslow Township are exceptional. My oldest child is special needs, so he participates in special education program in Winslow from school 4 up until now. My middle child is in a gifted and talented program. And so he's in choir and he's participating in those activities. Then my daughter, who's in school 4, I got a chance to read to her class and had a chance to go and watch her at her school play for the holiday break. I think our programs here are exceptional, and that's one thing that I would say that we should maintain as our programming that's across the board in our district.
And so, again, the second part of this would be one thing you would like to possibly change in the district.
Yeah, Winslow is so diverse and it's large compared to some other districts. And with the diversity, I think that that's a wonderful aspect for us. But then there's different challenges for each group of students. And one thing that I see is that I know the mission statement talked about changing with the world and rapidly changing world. Our social emotional needs of our children need to be addressed. Because we have such a large district and we have students in different parts of our district, the needs are different. And so how do we address those needs to make sure that our students get exactly what they need? So that's one thing that I would like to see.
Thank you, Mr. Farmer. Now, moving on, next question. Are there aspects of your educational or professional experiences that will be especially helpful in achieving our district's 2023-24 district goals? And I should say, Mr. Farmer, you have one more minute.
Sorry, okay, I'll be quick. So I am in education, excuse me. So what I do on a regular basis, student achievement, increased parent and caregiver. As an administrator, this is what I do. So I can look and partner with the district to make sure that we are hitting our goals. I know one of the goals mentions accountability, so making sure that we're maintaining accountability. But as this is what I do on a regular basis, I think A and B, or 1 and 2 of student achievement and increase in parent caregiver is something that I could do easily.
Okay, so our final question to you, Mr. Farmer, would be, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing the students of our district, and how would you address that issue?
Great. I know I'm short on time, so let me go quick. I think student achievement, but student achievement goes hand in hand with our social emotional needs of our students. We can't have student achievement if we're not meeting the social emotional needs of our students. So if we first meet the social emotional needs of our students, then we can increase our student achievement. The biggest way to do that is to look at the data and see where our students are struggling, behaviorally and academically, and then we can help them succeed.
Okay. Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Palmer. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis, if you will now bring in Mr. Jesse Flax. Good evening, Mr. Flax.
Good evening, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
Are you bored?
Mr. Flax, I should say that we're going to ask you a few questions, and that they are time limited, and we will allow you 5 minutes to answer these few questions. Okay, I understand from the information that you forwarded to us that you've been a resident of Winslow since 1997?
Yes.
Oh, very good, impressive. So let's just move on to the first question. What was the deciding factor for you in applying for this board vacancy, Mr. Flax?
So I've taken the time to actually review some of the old meetings that were actually had. And what I actually saw was there was a positive change that was coming into the community from the board. And it was good to actually want to be a part of people who make policy and foster and promote education throughout the community. I think if you get down to it, being able to direct policy, as I do right now in my current job, to actually promote education and change the lives of students is something that I want to be a part of.
Very good. Second question, Mr. Flax. Please tell us one thing you like about this district, and then one thing you would like to possibly change in the district.
One thing that I do like about the district is their willingness to bring together families, students, teachers, and parents to push education and promote education throughout the community. One thing that I would actually change is putting technology in the hands of the students to actually allow them to improve or better themselves. We are moving toward laptops and technology-based stuff, and there's things out there that the students can benefit from.
Okay. Next question, Mr. Flax. Are there aspects of your educational and professional experiences that would especially be helpful in achieving our 2023-24 district goals?
Throughout my career, I've always went after education. I've rose through the ranks in the fire department to become fire chief. I believe education is the biggest thing that you can do as a firefighter, is to be a smarter firefighter so that you're more safer. And I think that's something we can push through the community and give them the ability, resources, and the tools to actually push through life and meet the challenges of life.
Okay. And final question, Mr. Flax. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing our students, and how would you address that particular issue?
So the biggest challenge that I think that the students face is the socioeconomic challenges within the community. It's based on how students want to come to school, desire to come to school, promoting families to be supportive of the student coming to school, and maybe providing resources to allow them to want to come to school. We just can't take a opinion that this student doesn't want to come, but we need to provide them avenues to come to school, to get the education, and to be a part of how they're going to be educated.
We have no more questions at this time, and I believe that you fully used your 5 minutes.
We're gonna take it close. We have a little more time.
If there's, you have a little, how much longer do we have?
No, I'm okay.
Mr. Long? We have 1 minute, is there anything?
No, I'm okay.
You're okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flax. Board members, our next candidate is Ms. Wanda Glory. Good evening, Ms. Floyd.
everyone.
I'm laughing because, we're very familiar with you, and you're always a friendly face. Okay, so what I should say, Ms. Floyd, is that each candidate has been given 5 minutes. We have several questions that we would like for you to answer within those 5 minutes. And so the first question has to do with exactly what was the deciding factor for you in applying for the board vacancy? And before that, could you just let everyone know exactly how long you've been a resident in Winslow?
So, I just moved back into the township 3 years ago,
Okay,
but, we go back 50 years, my family does.
okay. And so again, what was the deciding factor for you in applying for this board vacancy?
My conscience.
Mhm.
Knowing that there's an elite group of people up here that care about our community and care about our students, and they're thriving to enhance policies and also ensure that our students are getting the best education by trying to get the best educators in our school. And I want to be a part of a team that moves forward to bring in excellence to our students in their education and academic and athletic programs.
Thank you. Next question. Please tell us one thing about the school district that you like, and then one thing that you would possibly want to change in the district. So it's a two-part question.
The one thing that I like about this school district is the results. I have 30 years of results of friends and family and children that have been through the school system, and they have all become very successful at everything they've done, and their educational background came from Winslow Township School District. The next thing is, what would I change? Absolutely nothing. What I would like to do is come a part of this board and help enhance and improve what you already have in place and keep moving forward.
Next question, Ms. Floyd. Are there aspects of your educational or professional experiences that will especially be helpful in achieving our 23-24 district goals?
Yes, I'm advocate. I'm an advocate in the community. I'm passionate about our students and about our youth in our community. I'm passionate about our stakeholders in our community as well. And I think my leadership and my goal-oriented and results-driven attitude, I'm a hard charger and I'm resilient, and I don't stop until it's done.
Okay. And so the final question, Ms. Floyd, is this. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the students of our district, and how would you address that issue?
Well, I want to just continue what the board has already have in place with the policies, because the biggest challenge that I see is our test scores. And I want to ensure that I support the board with the goals that they already have in place to continue the initiatives to ensure that we are educating our kids and getting them prepared for the state test and making sure no child is left behind because of that state test results. And because of the policies and the things that you have already put in place, I do believe that there will be some changes in results with the school test scores coming up this new year.
Shalom, does she have any?
A little bit more time if you'd like.
Okay, got a minute? So, Ms. Floyd, you answered the questions quickly such that you haven't used up your 5 minutes. Now, if there's nothing else further that you can say to us, then we're done.
I would like to say one thing.
Fine.
As a person who has been active in the community and coming to board of education meetings and watching this elite group of people that service our community and our kids, I want to be a part of the legacy that's going to be left behind as we continue to move forward in our district and make sure that we make Winslow Township be put on the map as one of the best schools to have to come to, and people will be thriving to come move into our community. So I want to be a part of that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Floyd,
All
thank
right,
you.
you're welcome.
Are you gonna have a seat?
Thank you.
So board members, our next candidate is Mr. Gerard McManus. Good evening, Mr. McManus again. How are you?
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. I should begin by letting you know that you do have a full 5 minutes in which to answer the few questions that we will put forth to you.
I appreciate that.
Okay? And so, Mr. McManus, let's start with letting us know exactly how long you've been a resident.
Been a resident in Winslow Township for, it marks one of my children. I have 5 kids, so it's about 20 years, I think.
Okay?
Yeah,
Okay, great. So therefore, this should be an easy question to answer. What was the deciding factor for you in applying for this board vacancy?
it's 2 reasons, one of which I just ran for the position. I came in 5th place in the balloting, but what led me to run was just the desire to see both the faculty and the kids here in the township succeed.
Thank you. Next question. Please tell us one thing, it's a 2-part question.
Sure.
Please tell us one thing you would like about this school district, and then one thing you would like to possibly change about this district. That is one thing you like, and then one thing you would possibly change about the school district.
Sure. In the time that I've been exposed to the process, I see a lot of really good things. The assets, the environment, physical location for the kids here in Winslow Township. I love it. I think it's the community. I think a lot of you know that I'm involved in the community in other respects, and I have never had anything but good feedback anywhere I went. It doesn't matter which development, it's just been great. So that is, I think, a big plus. What would I like to change about the district? There is and I don't mean this to sound overly critical, but in the marketplace, I'm a real estate agent locally. I've been practicing for 20 years here in the market. One of the things that I've noticed is that when folks are coming from other areas, they're told that Winslow Township schools are not good. That bothers me. And that's something that I want to work firsthand on in being able to change that public perception.
Okay, thank you. Next question, Mr. McManus. Are there aspects of your educational or professional experiences that will be especially helpful in achieving our 23 and 24 district goals?
I think so. One of which is, I really do believe this wholeheartedly, from a professional standpoint, that each one of us have to learn constantly. So one of the things that has happened in my career, and just for those of you that may or may not know, and I don't say this to boast, I just say this because in any kind of profession that you go to, there are problems that arise. And the question is that can we as individuals identify those problems and seek out answers that work for those problems? In my business that I'm in the top 1% nationally of real estate agents in both in production. So that does prove that I've been able to overcome tremendously in a business that has an 87% failure ratio. An 87% failure ratio. A person gets their license today, within 5 years they're out of the business. So.
Thank you. Final question. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing our students, and how would you address that particular issue?
The biggest challenge that I see for kids in today's marketplace, actually, in the United States in general, I know that, and you guys have shared some of this information with me before, is that in the last few years, scores have slipped, sometimes dramatically in some cases. The rest of the world is not seeing that. So the United States' scores are slipping relative to the rest of the world. So I believe that one of the changes that we could bring in, we take a look at our global economy, because there used to be a local economy. I graduated high school in 1985. You can make a phone call, you can get a good job working in a mobile refinery or working over an occidental chemical or something like that. But now we have to get a workforce that's highly trained, that is adept in especially the STEM fields. And that's really where the emphasis, I believe, needs to be. Because if we do not, and I remember it's at another board meeting, if kids are not there to be able to get into these, especially these STEM fields, we are the ones who I believe are responsible for the hardships that they're gonna have in life later on. Because if they're not able to compete globally, they're gonna be consigned to a life of penury.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. McKenna. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Board members, our next candidate is Ms. Christy Manzouli. Good evening, Ms. Manzouli. How are you? How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Okay, folks notice I smile at you just as I smile at these girls. So we're familiar with each other. So we're just smiling all over the place. Ms. Manzouli, each candidate has been given 5 minutes, and there's several questions that we will ask. And so we'll begin.
Sure.
So if you could just tell us how long you've been a resident in Winslow?
Sure, we have been residents in Winslow for over 25 years now, I would say. Moved into the area right after we got married and have not left since.
Okay, fine. So therefore, that kind of dovetails into the first question, which is, what was the deciding factor for you in applying for this board vacancy?
Sure, so the deciding factor for me was that I wanted to be a piece of and help continue a lot of the positive progress that I have seen in the district. I wanted to make sure that we could continue to do that. I'm committed to contributing to that factor. One of the big deciding factors for me was being part of the CAC and what that's taught me. It's allowed me to listen, it's allowed me to learn, it's allowed me to observe, and it's allowed me to really find out more about what it is to be a board member and what that decorum and that process looks like.
Good, thank you. Ms. Mazzulli, our second question is, could you please tell us one thing, it's a two-part question, one thing you like about the school district, and then the second part of this question would be, can you tell us one thing you'd like to possibly change about the district?
Yes, I'll tell you one thing that I love about this district, not just like, our district really stands out among others with our curriculum and our academic curriculum. If you look at our curriculum side by side with many of the others in this area and within the state, we have a preponderant number of AP classes, dual enrollment classes, academic, what I'll call rigor, that is really available to students. So the way that I like to say it, if I give an elevator pitch to somebody that doesn't know us, Winslow has the tools, the services, and the academic rigor to allow students to succeed if that student wants to take advantage of those pieces, and I love that about our district, and I've seen that firsthand in our students.
Moving now to your next question, are there aspects, I'm sorry, the second half, one thing
Sure,
that you
can I
would like
answer
to
the second half?
change? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the one thing that I would change is I say good schools look at things as change, great schools look at things as growth opportunities, right? Continual growth opportunities. And the thing that I chose is something that I think we have already made improvements on, but that we could continue, and that is our communication. Any organization can always improve their communication. We've done a very good job of communicating and connecting with our constituents and our stakeholders, but we could probably do a little bit more growth in the tech area of that and pulling that together.
Thank you. Next question. Are there aspects, Ms. Manzulli, of your educational or professional experiences that would especially be helpful in achieving our 2023-2024 district goals?
Absolutely. I'm going to talk about two of them. When I looked at all of our academic goals and the mission statement that we have and the goals that we've set out for 2023 and 2024, two things stood out. One is our student achievement, right? First and foremost, we are here to foster student achievement. I spent 7 years as an administrator within a college at St. Joseph's University. At my time there, the experiences that I was building were built around helping students learn, identify, grab their potential, and really help them acquire skills that help them both inside but also outside of the classroom. One of the things that we really prided ourselves on there was this concept of magus, which is in Jesuit terms, which the university is, for the greater good, really making sure that people could become members of a society. The second piece, I'll be really brief. The second
Because
piece,
you're down to 1 minute.
okay, the second piece would be the educational pieces that I have within marketing. I've been a marketing professional for years. We've done leaps and bounds. I'm a specialist within PR, communications, marketing awareness, and I'd love to bring that to the marketing committee.
Great. So our final question, Ms. Manzulli, is what do you see as the biggest challenge facing our students in this district, and how would you address that one issue?
So I wrapped this up into one word, and that word for our students was focus. I feel as if there are a lot of external challenges that our students in this day and age are facing. Things like fear about safety, parental involvement, challenges that they have in the home place, technologically, being bombarded with things. And so I would just make sure that we create a safe space, an engaging learning experience place, and that we continue to do those things to make them feel a part of the learning so that they can see that they can succeed.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Manzulli.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too, you can have a seat. So board members, our next and final applicant is Ms. Lakeisha Walker. Good evening, Ms. Walker. Ms. Walker, I should begin by letting you know that each candidate has been given 5 minutes in which to answer the questions that we're going to put before you. Okay? First question that kind of dovetails into what I see in front of me is, can you tell us how long you've been a resident of Winslow?
I've been a resident of Winslow for the last 7 years.
And as a resident, what was the deciding factor for you in applying for this board vacancy?
When I first heard about the vacancy, I didn't think twice about applying for the vacancy. I feel that this is the perfect opportunity for me to make a difference here in the community as a taxpayer, a homeowner here, a business owner here in the community. And I say this because our children need positive advocates that will be their voice here in the community to help them to be successful in their future endeavors.
Thank you. Second question, Ms. Walker, please tell us, and it's a two-parter, please tell us one thing you like about this school district, and then one thing you would like to possibly change about the district.
So there's a lot to be proud of here in the district. It's so hard to just name one. There's a strong heritage here in the district, and we need to celebrate the success that comes through this district. So from what I see and have witnessed over the years, a lot of our students have gone off to colleges, and a lot of them have graduated through the school system, became doctors, athletes, lawyers, and the list goes on. So you have, students such as Jordan Burroughs, Sean Green, Dennis Mitchell, which goes even further back to when it was Edgewood, so just seeing this, it just shows the heritage right here in our district, but one of the things that, if appointed, that I see that I would change would be the stigma that surrounds the Winslow School District where people say that they would not allow their children to come through the school system. That's something that I would change. We have a lot of students that are here, children that live in this community, but they don't go to our school system.
Thank you, thank you. The next question, Ms. Walker. Are there aspects of your educational or professional experiences that will be especially helpful in achieving our 23-24 district goals?
Yes. As a mother, a consultant, a coach, a real estate professional, a taxpayer right here in our district, I feel that, and I'm very confident, that my professional experience will be impactful to the achievements of the 2023-2024 school year.
Thank you. And our final question for you, Ms. Walker, is this. What do you see as the biggest challenge facing the students of our district, and how would you address that particular issue?
Yeah, so one of the biggest challenges that I see, not limited just to our district, is financial literacy that our students, could use more of. If I am appointed, one of the things that I would change would be providing wealth building, teaching students how to save money, budgeting, home ownership. I would bring that to our students here in the district. With that, I would also implement workshops and learning courses for our students. These are just a few things that, I would start out with, but we have banks here, we have homes here, we have resources right here. There's no reason for our students to have to go outside of our community to get those things.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. That actually concludes our questions. Please for all candidates this evening. So if you could just have a seat. Now to all present, especially those who have stepped forward, now we move into phase two. Now, what we as board members have to do is to make a very, very hard decision as to who to appoint. Let me just say this. You, all seven of you, from my personal opinion, have not made it easy for us, not at all. You all have been excellent candidates. So pleased that you are all residents of this community, and it's good to know how you feel about this district and our students. So moving forward, at this point, we are going to adjourn into our executive session and make that very difficult decision, right? Now, you can actually stay here and wait for us to come out, because we will come out and vote publicly, appoint publicly, because remember, it's interview, select, and appoint. And as Mr. Long said earlier, whoever we appoint will have 30 days in which to clear a background check. So, Mr. Long?
Yes, in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, we will be adjourning into an executive session at approximately 6:52 p.m. Of the choices involved would be matters of personnel and matters that are subject to the attorney-client privilege and subject to confidentiality as a matter of law. And I would anticipate that we would be in that executive session anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. So we should be coming out of probably no later than 7:30. If we're still in here at 7:30, I will come out and make an announcement as to an estimate of how much longer I would suspect that we would be in executive session. So it would be appropriate for a motion a second for an executive session.
Thank you, Mr. Long. And again, you're certainly welcome to stay, or if you are not able to stay, we want to come out and appoint, and if you're the person who was appointed, you will absolutely be contacted. So at this time, board members, I'm asking for a motion for us to move into executive session.
Motion to move into executive session?
I second that motion.
Moved by Mr. Yeller, second by Mr. Thomas. Roll call, please.
Ms. Stratton? Yes. Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Cho?
Is Mr. Shaw still on?
Ms. Nieves? Yes. Ms. Peterson? Yes. Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes,
Motion is carried.
thank you. We are turning into executive session.
We're being a little- waiting for Mr. Shaw. Now, he called me and we're trying to get in here unsuccessfully. He called me, so we're trying to see if we can get him into the waiting room and then back into the meeting. This would be better acoustics for him.
I just invited him again. I'm just waiting for him again. I just invited him again.
Mr. Shaw, are you back?
Nah, he's not in yet.
I'm just talking.
There he is.
Mr. Shaw?
He's in.
Yes, I'm back in. Thank you very much.
Okay. We're all present and accounted for, so therefore at this time, I'm asking for a motion to adjourn our executive session.
Motion to adjourn executive session.
I second.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. All in favor? Thank you. We are now back. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. We are now back into our regular public session. At this time, community board members, we are prepared to make our selection of the individual that we're going to, Ms. Gordon, the individual that we're going to appoint to fill the vacancy. And I'm probably repeating myself, but I really would like to say again, this was not an easy selection. All the candidates were really, really great, absolutely. But we only have one seat, and so we can only pick one. But I do want to reiterate and remind all of us of what Mr. Long said earlier. Whoever is appointed will be required to run this November to hold that seat if they so desire in 2024. They will also be required to run in 2025 because that year will complete the term for which you are filling in. So I just want to be clear on that. So at this point, we're about to go into our selection, and our selection process will be this way. I'm going to ask for a roll call, and each board member will speak the name of who they feel.
If we may, Madam President, could
Yes,
we have a
Mr. Long.
motion and a second to proceed with a roll call, providing the name of the individual they have selected? We would need, for purposes of the public, a majority of the remaining membership or 5 votes to be selected. So with that, it would need a motion and a second to proceed in that fashion.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Board members, is there a motion?
Yes, Madam President. I move
You can just move at this point without nomination.
Right.
I move for Mr.
Just move to
Just move to
proceed.
proceed with the selection.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
I can second that.
Okay, moved by Ms. Peterson, second by Mr. Thomas to proceed with the selection. All in favor? Any nays?
Now, on the roll call, Madam President, we will provide names.
Right. The ayes have it, so therefore at this time, we're going to proceed with the roll call. And as Mr. Long indicated, we will ask each board member to call out the name of the person that they wish to fill a vacancy. And once that person gets the majority, that is the person that we will appoint. So, Ms. Boyle?
Ms. Stratton? Mr. Ashby? I'm going to project.
I got you, Ms.
Okay. Ms. Stratton? Mr. Ashby? Ms. Martin? Mr. Askew? Ms. Nieves?
Ms. Renzulli.
Ms. Peterson? Mr. Askew? Mr. Shaw?
Ms. Renzulli.
Ms. Thomas?
Mr. Askew.
Mr. Thomas?
Mr. Askew.
And Ms. Pitts?
Ms. Askew?
Okay, Mr. Askew has won the nomination to fill the vacancy on the board.
Thank you, Mr. Askew. Thank you very much. So after the meeting, if you would kindly meet with our business administrator, and she will give you further instructions. But thank you again to everyone who has stepped forward, and it shows how much you care about this district and our children. So it doesn't mean that, hopefully that this will be the last time that we'll be seeing you. I know, I'm sure 2 people who applied, I'm sure I'm going to be seeing them. But thank you very much for stepping forward and making the commitment. At this point, board members, we're going to proceed with our agenda. We're on page 2. And at this time, I'm asking for, would there be any awards and presentations, Dr. Cookie?
No presentations at this time. Excuse me. No presentations at this time, Madam President.
Thank you. And correspondence?
No correspondence, Madam President?
Thank you. At this time, I'm asking for a motion to approve the following board meeting minutes from our board meeting of December 13th. I'm asking for a motion to approve the regular meeting of Wednesday, December 13th, open session, and the regular meeting Wednesday, December 13th, closed session. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from the regular meeting Wednesday, December 13th, open and closed session.
I can second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Drayden? Yes. Ms. Martin? Yes. Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Abstain.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Abstain?
The motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving now, board members, I'm at the top of page 3. I'm asking for a motion to approve the following board minutes from our reorganization meeting, which was held January 3rd, 2024, open session. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of our reorganization meeting from January 3rd, open session.
I can second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Drayden?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw? Ms.
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
The motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving now, board members, to our committee reports. Since this is the first meeting of the new year, I would ask if any chairpersons at this time would have a report out of their committee.
Yes, Madam President, I do.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, the athletic committee?
Yes, just the athletic committee, we are now scheduling to set up, get correspondence to set up our annual meeting. It looks like we're on our way to getting there. I just want to update on some of our athletic department, our athletic achievements with our students keep moving no matter what happens with us. I know we just inducted 61 people into our honor society this past couple of weeks. Was one of the biggest classes that we had. And I just want to make a point that 31 of them were athletes. So 50% of the honor society children were athletes. I also want to say that we are currently now live streaming with our award-winning Studio 106. They are live streaming our home games for basketball, boys and girls, and wrestling. So if anyone want to enjoy a nice basketball game in the comfort of their own home, Studio 106 is where you can do it on YouTube. And the schedule is up now on Winslow Athletic website, where you can get the schedule and moving forward on that. Also, this past weekend, our girls track team is doing phenomenal again, starting off the new year. The Hispanic Games, our 4x200 team of Olivia, Dom, Desai, and Cece ran the New Jersey #1 time of 1.422, and that's a 200 medley relay, which is outstanding and phenomenal. And once again, our freshman, who is now a sophomore, Messiah Bronner, was first in the triple jump, fourth in the long jump, and 12th in the 55-meter hurdles. So that would conclude my athletic report, and Winslow winning this here again.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Any other chairs?
Yes, Madam President, operations.
Ms. Drayton?
Will read the, minutes.
Thank you.
Yes, the Operations Committee met on Tuesday, December 19, 2023 at 5 o'clock. In attendance were Ms. Dredden, Ms. Boyle, Ms. Chico, and Dr. Mills. We covered the 21-22 capital projects, the security alarm at the high school and the middle school, and the school 6 main office HVAC replacement. We have reported repeatedly that we're waiting for the documents. I myself reached out to both vendors requesting that the closeout documents be sent to the architect. So I'm not taking anybody's word. We moved it ourselves. Capital projects, the circulation pump replacement at the middle school facade repairs and painting. We coordinated our schedules with Land to get both bids out for advertisement. They're both out for advertisement. The high school HVAC upgrade, the Office of the State Comptroller was still reviewing the bid docs. The HVAC upgrade at School 6 for the remaining building. We did receive the final eligible cost letter from the SBDIC, from the state, and we're waiting to hear from the School Development Authority, which is the SBA, to get the approval for the grant, and then we can move that project along. The before and after school program, Dr. Mills reported out that he was locking himself in his office to complete the 2024 renewal application for the state license. There was a mountain of paperwork to be completed for each site. I did not see him on Monday. And so I was asking, and he told me he locked himself in his office. And you know, Mr. Mills, I'm assuming that there's probably claw prints on the doors. The long-range facilities plan, Land is working on that update to the long-range facilities plan. The 22-23 audit was completed and submitted to the state by the deadline of December 5th. It was presented and discussed at our public meeting, our December 13th board meeting. We did have one finding that the balance in the food service fund exceeded the amount. This is not a repeat finding. And the 2024-25 budget development, school-based budgets were distributed to board principals. The allocations were based on the student counts. And the leadership team is planning to meet with the principals, I think next week, to go over their budgets and any needs they may have. And as for the 24-25 budget, we are planning, at this point, the leadership team is planning to incorporate the upgrade to the HVA system at School 5 to put that in the project. So we have the high school, we have the funding, we have School 6, we have the funding, and we're going to now get the funding for School 5. I hope they don't all start one summer, because I will wish you well.
But that is still good news.
The meeting concluded at 6:20.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Any questions or comments with regards to that report? Any other, reports from any of our other committees?
Yes, Madam President,
Ms. Martin?
yes.
We will be having our CAC meeting tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. in the administration building.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports?
Yes, the Education Committee will meet on the third Tuesday at 4 p.m., so that's next Tuesday.
Any other reports?
The marketing committee will be meeting on the 31st at 6 p.m. via Zoom.
Via Zoom? Okay, thank you. Any other? Thank you, board chairs. Before we move from the committee reports, I would just want to remind us, especially our chairs, that you are expected to submit to Ms. Paul a schedule of your meetings. And also, once you have put together your reports, to make sure that Ms. Boyle gets a copy of your report so that she can disseminate it in a timely fashion to to the rest of the board. Moving now, board members, still on page 3, I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report that begins on page 3 and concludes in the middle of page 5. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the superintendent's report as it begins on page 3 and continues through to page 5.
I second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, seconded by Mr. Thomas. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Drayton?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
The motion has carried.
Thank you. Moving now, board members, bottom of page 5, I'm asking for a motion to approve the Business Administrative Board Secretary's report as it begins at the bottom of page 5. And as you see, it continues through to the top of page 10. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the Business Administrative Board Secretary's report as it begins on page 5 and goes through to page 12.
I second.
Goes through to page 10, I believe. Right?
Yes. Sorry, page 10.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Drayton?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Bull. Moving now to the personnel report. I'm asking for a motion to approve the personnel report as it begins at the middle of page 10 and continues through to the bottom of page 12. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the personnel report as it begins on page 10 and goes through to the bottom of page 12.
I second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Drayton?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
The motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Boyle. Moving now, I'm at the top of page 13. Board members, I draw your attention to our addendum, and I feel certain that we've had an opportunity to read through it. So therefore, I'm asking for a motion to approve the superintendent's report.
Motion to approve the superintendent's report as it appears on the addendum.
I second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Drayton?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Moving now, still on our addendum, I'm asking for a motion to approve the Business Administrative Board Secretary's report as it begins on the bottom of page 1 and continues through to the top of page 3. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the Business Administrative Board Secretary's report as it appears on our addendum on pages 2 and 3.
I second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Ms. Drayton?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Ms. Nieves?
Yes.
Ms. Peterson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
And Ms. Pitts?
Yes.
Motion has carried.
Thank you, Ms. Paul. Moving now, board members, to our Open Public Records Act request. Ms. Boyle?
Yes, Madam President, between the period of December 8th and December 8th, 2023, and January 4th, 2024, we responded to one request from Melanie Burney, education reporter from the Philadelphia Inquirer, who requested a list or other documents listing all HIV reports filed for the current school year through current school year, September 23 to present. Those documents were supplied and sent.
Ms. Paul, did Ms. Burney indicate why she wanted this information from us?
No, Madam President, and they're not required to provide a reason why.
Correct.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that the community was aware of that also. Moving now to our informational items. Dr. Poteet?
Yes, Madam President, members of the board and community, I have a couple information items. As a result of yesterday's heavy rain, we did have some leaks throughout the district. Very small, minor leaks that did not interfere with the educational process. However, we are presently working with contractors to get some repairs done. However, we had our greatest problem at School 3, where the parking lot, about 90% of the parking spaces were covered in water. I spoke to Mr. Gallagher at the township, and he stated that they will look at the creek or stream that leads in or out of that drain system. Maybe it's clogged. We thought it would recede by the end of the school day, never moved. So at this point, there's a cloud somewhere in that vicinity, and they're going to assist us tomorrow, and hopefully they can find out where that possible clog was, so that we can get that water out, or at least put something in place where we can pump that water. But right now, it has maintained its level, and we can't use the parking lot beyond maybe 10%, if that much. All right. I do have one item. We will be making some additional contacts. It's referring to parenting in the digital world. This is a family activity for pre-K students and their families. It is scheduled for January the 18th at school number 4 at 6 p.m. This is an opportunity for families to come together and have some fun, but also help our little people and the families to understand what is good screen time and what is not. Since we are moving, of course, in the area of technology, learning our little people how to best use, as well as the parents, quality time they use in technology. The students will be able to create their own winter sensory bin to take home with them. So we encourage all of the pre-K parents to come out on January the 18th. Of course, I'll be making a robo call sometime next week, maybe Tuesday, we remind parents to come out. If they're going to RSVP, we're asking them to have that done by tomorrow. This information has been disseminated to the parents for at least 2 weeks now, so it's not something that they're not aware of. Other than that, Madam President, we are in full swing throughout the school district, back from the holidays. Everything is moving as normal. However, we have, to deal with some issues in terms of attendance and things of that sort. Dealing with sickness and illness from staff as well as students. So we're doing the very best we can to maintain our day-to-day operations. And at this point, we're moving forward. That concludes my information items for this evening. Madam President, thank you.
Board members, any questions for Dr. Poteet? All right, hearing none, we could proceed now to old business. Board members, would there be any old business that you would care to discuss at this time? Hearing none, I'm moving now to our new business. I noticed here that when we came back out of executive session, there was this nice folder or flyer here, and it says Rubies and Pearls. And I see that the founder and director is there, and I'm hoping that perhaps she would come up in public comments and just give us a little bit of information about that. Not right now, when we go into the session, okay? So any other new business that?
Madam President, I do just have one new business information item I'd like to share, not only with our students, but to our community, our communities.
Okay, Mr. Thomas.
As you well know, coming up Monday is a service of MLK Day. That's birthday on that. And I know some of the community has put together, free haircuts for any students or anyone that's looking to get free haircuts on that day. They just would have to go on the website and log and get further details and register. And you register at lovingourcities.volunteer.hub.com. That's lovingourcitiesvolunteershub.com. And you can register for a free haircut on that day in Loving for students. That's it, all I have for that.
New business, thank you, Mr. Thomas. Hearing no more comments with regards to new business, we're going to be ready to go into our public comment, Mr. Rowan.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. The Winslow Township Board of Education highly values the input of citizens in making important decisions that affect the children of our community. We believe in the rights of citizens to observe board meetings, to ensure that all of our citizens have the opportunity to attend school board meetings and offer comment, and to ensure that the board can conduct the important business of the district. We ask that the speakers follow the following guidelines for making public comment. The board secretary will recognize those individuals in the audience who wish to make public comment. Please respect the following procedures. 1, all members of the public attending school board meetings must treat each other and the board with respect. 2, state your full name and address. 3, please limit your comments to 4 minutes. 4, in the event we are unable to answer your question, please submit your question to the board through the board secretary with your name, address, and telephone number where you can be contacted, and your question will be answered within a reasonable period of time. And lastly, individuals offering citizen comment are not permitted to make personal attacks on any district employee, board member, other testifier, or member of the public.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Board members, at this time, I'm asking for a motion for us to move into the public comment portion of our meeting.
Motion to move into public comments?
I second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Thank you. Ms. Boyle?
Madam President, nobody has, oh, I'm sorry. I heard, yeah. Madam President, nobody has signed up to speak this evening, and I see the text is saying nobody's in the waiting room.
Okay, is there anyone present here today? You didn't have a chance to sign up, but you would like to make public comment?
Oh, it's I apologize.
Ms. McKenzie?
Yes. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Diane McKenzie, and I'm founder and CEO, president for Rubies and Pearls. We've been operating in Winslow since 2011, and we still currently operating. I'm here today to let the Board of Education know we exist. I know word of mouth and you heard some things, but as we growing and the seriousness of some of the things that are going on in our community with our children, I just want to know what is it that we can do for our citizens, Rubies and Pearls, to network with the schools, to work with the school more with activities. We meet every Saturday. Winslow has been so kind to us. We have meet every Saturday from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock at the Star Building on 100 Area Road. Every second Saturday, we meet at the senior building, the bug door next to the library, from 10 to 1 also. We offer a lot. I know we're not a township where our children have a place to go every weekend. It's like from Monday to Fridays, it shuts down in Winslow with our children. Unless they have parents who have the Apple transportation to take them where they want to go. And one thing about the location of our buildings, they're within walking distance of the larger facilities of where our children live in this district. What I'm asking, and I have sent out numerous letters in the past to the Board of Education, letting them know that we do exist. What is it that we can do on my part to work with you guys on the panel? What can we do to encourage more of a turnout? We have a lot of children that attend. We have a constant turnover, but I would like to see more mentors, more of the community involved with Rubies and Pearls. It's a nonprofit 501. I would like for the children, some kind of way we can let them know or educate them or make them aware of what is going on in Winslow, some of the things, especially for the girls. Our ages is from 5 to 18. And we break them down, we break groups down in separate groups. Someone asked me, why is a 5-year-old coming to Rubies and Pearls? You'd be surprised what a 5-year-old knows to recite and is aware of what's around you. One little girl came in and she wasn't even 5, she was 4. This when I started in 2011. She used to drop her bigger sisters off and she said, can I stay? And I said, no, you're too young. I said, if you're 5. I said, well, if you can write your name, you can stay. She wrote her name. I should say she printed her name. No cursive, she printed her name. And I let her stay. She has graduated. She still connects with us. And my first year I opened, and I know some of you on the board are aware of some of the girls. When I opened in 2011, I had, I believe, 12 to 13 girls from when I called it Edgewood. She graduated from Edgewood or Winslow. And every last one of those girls in Rubies and Pearls they graduated, they went off to college, and they finished, and they went beyond their bachelor's. I'm seeing all of this because one of the girls came back, and I think she did the commencement speech for the freshman year. And I'm seeing all this to say, Rubies and Pearls is a good program, and is what we need for our young ladies. And I just want to know that it's open to all ranges, all ethnicity, excuse me. But I want you to know that with your help, if we could pass the word along somewhere in the school system, that it does exist and everyone is welcome.
Well, we take what you said, Ms. McKenzie, very seriously. I would suggest that you do 2 things. Number 1, connect with our marketing committee, and our chairperson for that is Ms. Nieves. And number 2, I would ask, are you registered with the township as one of their organizations?
Yes, I am. I am with the Township of Winslow.
Good.
So when you go to see the listing of where Men of Power Nation, the Girl Scouts, and the other groups, Rubies and Pearls is listed.
Great. And one of the reasons why I asked that is because, as you probably already know, quite a few, because we do not in Winslow have a community center.
Mhm.
And so therefore, the residents and children very often use many of our school buildings. And there is indeed a charge for the use of our facilities. However, if any organization is on the list from the township, we have a long-standing agreement with the township that if you want to use any of our facilities, you can use it, the cost is free.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that. So, Ms. Nieves, would you have any parting words from Ms. McKenzie?
Oh, no, I appreciate that. I'll be in contact.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Cole?
Oh, excuse me. I just read it. February the 10th, we are having a program at the Bud Doble Center, and it's called Children in the Village. And if you are able to attend, I wish, my prayer and hope is that we get a good turnout, especially from the Board of Education and people in the community. This year is going to be a little different. You know, we always train our children to say, do it this way, do it that way. We always give them the tool to do these things, but how often do they actually get to add their minds with the tools that they're using? So this year, it's going to be a little different. They actually made the menu, they're helping to cook the menu, and the talent that they feel like they have, not what we say they have, what they should do, they're using their own talent. This year we have girls who are playing guitars, doing songs. We have children. We have a book club in Movies and Programs. If you reach the brochures, we have a book club. And one of the things that they are going to do this year, the book they concentrate is called Ghost Boys. So they're reading and talking about that. Some of the girls are very introverted. They really don't communicate a lot. So what they're doing, they're showing their artwork, and they're going to explain how paints and things make them feel. So if you have the opportunity to come out, come and stop by.
Okay, so I would say make sure that the advertising for that event, advertising and promoting events is key. And you're sitting between 2 of our most prominent members of our Citizens Advisory Committee, and certainly they can help you with that marketing as well as
Mrs. Pitt,
Mr. Shaw.
if Mrs. Nieves doesn't mind, Ms. McKenzie can reach out to me because, as you know, I'm also a board member on Men Empowering Nation. So she can reach out to me and I can be her connection between the board and Rubies and Pearls.
Okay.
and with the marketing committee as well. So if that's okay with Ms. Nieves, I can take care of everything with Ms. McKenzie.
That's
Okay.
fine, Mr. Shaw.
There you have it, Ms. McGinn.
Thank you very much.
It's all coming from the village.
Thank you.
Ms. Boyle, no more?
No, Madam President.
I see a hand
I see
being
it.
waved.
Hello, Jesse Flax from Bristol Drive. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the board for their consideration and the opportunity to become a board member. And I'd like to take the time to congratulate Mr. Askew for being a board member.
Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? Hearing none? All right. So at this time, I'm asking for a motion to close our public comment portion.
Motion to close public comments?
I second that motion.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Thomas. All in favor? Any nays? Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Hearing none?
No need for an executive session, another executive session this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Long. Thank you. So therefore, board members, at this time, I'm asking for a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn this meeting?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Nieves, second by Mr. Shaw. Second by Mr. Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone.